everyone, welcome to SportsKhabri with me, Rishi and Adi, and back to discussing the T20 World Cup, guys, because we're in the business end of the tournament. Finally, I think the Associate Nations, you have to give them a chance. They did well. They actually, I think in the end surprised a lot of people. They played well, but now I think we're really talking with the top 8 teams of the tournament. Probably the only major surprise is Pakistan getting knocked out along with New Zealand, and of course you've got USA going through. So yeah, apart from that, pretty standard. We've gotten off to a good start. India have beaten Afghanistan in their first match of the Super 8. See, does it look promising for India? I mean, do you think it's going to be India's year? Because there's again a lot of chatter about whether it's going to happen or not. It's been 12 years, 13 years now since India won their last, not 13 years, 11 years since they won their last ICC trophy. So yeah, it's been a long wait. Do you think it's going to happen? Because this Indian side have been very consistent for the last, say 4 or 5 years. Made it to the final of the Cricket World Cup. Made it to a couple of Test Championship finals, semi-finals in the T20 World Cup. So yeah, is it going to finally happen for this Indian team?
I mean, bro, I'm not so confident also. Like, I'm not going to say outright we are the favorites to win the World Cup because, to be honest, I've seen more consistent performances and more convincing rather than consistent, more convincing performances from someone like an Australia or even West Indies, maybe, except for the first game, they've seemed to have clobbered their way throughout. So I feel they have a little bit more edge, and Australia, to be fair, I don't remember one game where they struggled, where they looked like it looked like they were out of their depths. Maybe
Oman.
against Oman, yeah, even Oman, they didn't need a real firefighting job. They were like, it was a couple of wickets fell, and then before it was any alarm bells ringing, Stoinis came and just took care of that. So see, we have struggled really. Like against Pakistan, I think our batting was really put to test. I feel that it didn't go to that extent, at least for Australia. But that being said, I'm fairly confident about how we're going to play. Like of late, Surya Kumar Yadav has come into
Yeah,
form.
he's really come to the party, I think,
Yeah,
especially yesterday.
and of course there are it's still not as convincing as it should be, our batting, but then I feel at least in the given circumstances we're doing the job, we're getting our job done much better than the other team. So from that perspective, I feel I'm a little bit, I can't lie, I'm feeling fairly confident, but I wouldn't have that usual that confidence or that arrogance of the last World Cup, the ODI World Cup, where I was like, bro, this is ours. There's no way anyone else is getting. I'm not outright arrogantly confident, but it's like, yeah, I feel we have enough to get the job done.
I think weirdly you're right in the sense that we're not probably the best team. We haven't been the best team in this tournament yet. I think Australia have been fairly consistent, but bro, like I don't see any other team that has really been like, oh wow, like they are the real favorites here. Adi, you
Exactly.
think there's any other team that have been like amazingly brilliant that you're saying, okay, they will sort of go very deep and they'll probably end up winning, other than Australia?
See, the thing is actually what we have to talk, right, about basically when it comes to India, let's take it back since 2013 in the Champions Trophy. After that, what has India done in the ICC tournaments? For example, we go back to 2014 World Cup. They were there, played the semi-finals, finals against Sri Lanka, right? They were a very strong team. Go back 2016 World Cup, T20 World Cup, again a very strong team. Virat was in form, like tremendous form. You would have said they would have been favorites winning, especially playing at home in India also. And then you go back to the 2019 World Cup, very, very dominant team. That World Cup team was a very dominant team. They should have won it also on their day, they lost. Go back to our previous World Cup where we played England in Australia. Again, you can say that was the only time where we were a bit more weaker than the opponents. Go back to last year's World Cup, the way India played in entire World Cup, ODI World Cup. I don't think any team has had dominant performances like that. Go to the finals again, lost. So I think more of India, we have to talk about what happens to them in knockout stages. Like you can see them cruising through the group stages all the time. In terms of playing cricket, it's never been a tough ask for them to go through to the semi-finals. That's very easy for them. When it comes to the knockout stages, semi-finals, finals is where they bottle it. To be fair, even if we talk about 2017 World Cup against Pakistan, that the Champions Trophy, that Pakistan team versus that Indian team, you would have expected India to crush them. But again, we lost by a huge margin in that game also. So it's always going to be a question of mentality, dude. I don't think it's going to be a question about, can India look the best throughout the tournament? Can they win the World Cup? Like we talk that, I think even last World Cup we should have said India should have won it with ease. My issue with India is more about during the crunch moments, during when it's high pressure moments. Do these players actually show up and perform for the country? So that's what I think we should talk about. And to be fair, do you guys believe like there are players who can do that? Because historically, no matter what we talk about, even the best players, the players who we think are in form, they just tend to not perform in the crucial moment. Like you just go back to the previous World Cup last year itself. Like everyone was in form, especially in batting wise. I don't think that last year's batting, everyone were in form in terms of strength. Apart from Gill, maybe everyone else were in form. Even bowling, like players like Shami were getting wickets for fun. Go to the finals, they was just not there. So that's what we have to actually talk about.
Dude, yeah, I think mentality has become sort of an issue over the years, and I think it's a point that we have to discuss. But like actually, when you look back at it, the guys who won you the World Cups, right? I feel like they were so mentally like strong and even today they come off as very strong-headed. 2011, it was Gautam Gambhir who basically won you the World Cup, right? With that incredible innings under pressure. 2013, it was Ashwin with the ball in the Champions Trophy. Again, a very strong-minded character, especially in the head. I don't think anybody has. I mean, I don't use the word anybody else would have had the guts to do what Ashwin did even against Pakistan a couple of years back, leaving that ball.
I do you, like I think the right term you're looking for is dog. They don't have any dogs
Yeah.
in.
Dude, yeah, I think like that real bold character in the team will say. I think Virat Kohli is that person, but I don't know why it's not happened for him. But dude, yeah, but you historically look at India's successes, they've come under people like this. These guys always stand up. Gautam Gambhir, 2011, fantastic, and he's that proper strong-headed. Like he doesn't care about anything about anyone. He will do his job, kind of player. And I think when you go back to the 2007 World Cup success, again you're talking about the same guys. It's Gautam Gambhir who delivered on that day as well. So I think that's we don't have that player. I think right now in this Indian squad, it feels like they're all a bunch of nice guys. Or yeah, they're all. But I don't see that really strong-headed character. Yeah, apart from Virat Kohli, I think that's an issue. You see any other really like sort of mentally solid guys? I think Justin Bieber is a
I
big one,
mean,
but again,
can
I'm talking
you?
about with the bat.
I see.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know if you can count Bumrah in because I've never seen Bumrah be extremely off his game. As in,
Yeah.
at 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 his lowest, also he's been not bad at all. And his best, he's like probably the best bowler in all three formats. So, like strictly from a skill perspective, from an execution perspective, he's never been shy of that mark. But again, mentally, I don't know. Also, I feel that comes a lot with winning. Unless you win those, unless you have those like you win not just your IPLs, you win those trophies, you win you be in the situation, you step into those shoes. Unless that happens, I don't think it's easy to create
Right.
those. Like you have to go through the grind, you have to come out emerges, like you have to come out victorious. Only then will you actually carve out those characters. I don't think that's easily created. And exactly due to that reason, I don't see, like exactly like you said, I don't see a lot of characters in this team. I mean, maybe you can say someone is mentally tough. I don't know Rohit Sharma to an extent. Like he
Mm.
doesn't let the outside noise maybe affect him as much. But then other than that, relatively all of them are, if not youngsters, they don't. I don't know how exactly to
Bro, they
put it.
lack I really think they
Exactly,
lack
exactly,
personality.
exactly. They just lack a strong personality. They're all your modern day cricketers with big paychecks, big contracts, they're playing. They'll opt out of a series if it means their IPL is tampered. Everyone wants to play IPL. They want to make the big bucks. They all want to be comfortable. They all want your big sponsorships. It's become a lot more that. It's become a lot more commercial. And somewhere, us as a nation, as a cricketing community, our track has slightly changed, I feel. And
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I don't think anything else will get us back there other than winning. We have to win one or two trophies. We have to win one or two. We have to be in that scenario. Only then will that hunger be created. Other than that, I don't think there's any other way to like create that fire in them.
Bro, but it's really true, Adi, because bro, when I look back at those teams, those World Cup winning teams, bro, when I think about it, they had so many characters and personalities, like just as individuals. Harbhajan Singh was a personality, Yuvraj Singh was a
Zahir Khan.
personality. All these guys, bro, like Virender Sehwag was a personality in himself. So I think I saw like a very like mixed crop of people. Like, of course, they had their own personalities, but they had very strong character.
Bro, do you
Which I
realize the supposed youngsters in that 2011 World Cup, which were Raina and Virat, they also were huge personalities. They even at that stage they were not kids really. They were established cricketers. Okay, maybe Virat not so much, but even Raina was a huge factor. Like I feel someone like a Raina in today's say T20 World Cup is supposed to be Dubey. But look at the difference, stark difference.
Yeah, true. Do you think it's a mentality thing, or like it's only a personality thing that has come down, or you think quality of cricketers also, if you compare the teams that have won in the past, there's a big difference?
See, that's the thing. I think that's a huge factor, right? But again, if we talk about, see, that's the thing where it's unfair, right? If you look at players during that era, I think we can't compare era. That's one thing I always say. Because that eras, you had personalities everywhere, not only in India. You talk about England, they had huge stars there also, big players. You talk about West Indies, they had huge, again, a huge crop of talent. Go back to, Sri Lanka, again, we know how good they were. Pakistan was still a very solid team at that time. I feel like that era itself, you had players everywhere, they themselves. I think right now we have something called an IPL where players have become a bit more soft. You find lesser rivalries. Can you imagine looking at someone like Ponting and Ganguly just shaking hands and chilling before they wouldn't have done. Now you see players like Rohit Sharma, Virat, Warner, Cummins, they're all friends. So I feel like that rivalry is dimmed down because of the IPL. So I just don't like comparing these two eras, right? Because again, we look at our era right now, just talking about our era. We look at teams like England, Australia, New Zealand. I feel like we all have the same power in terms of level and personalities, right? Because you look at, for example, we lost to New Zealand in the Test World Cup. I don't think we were lacking personality that day, right? In terms of like characters, we still had very experienced players, very strong players also playing that game. Especially again, going back to last year's Test Championship World Cup, Test Championship also against Australia, we had similar teams. So I feel like it's more of a. I feel like with India, it's more of, you know players just don't show up on that day. I think it's about a mentality thing which has been there for a very long time. One thing for me, I personally believe is previously, you remember you spoke about 2011, 2007, 2013. The one common factor that time was our captain. Our captain was MS Dhoni at that time, who was a guy not only, let's take his performance out of the table, like scored a humongous 97 in the World Cup final, etc. Just we take it out. Him as a captain is what we lack right now, because we have a group of players who are talented, right? But we don't have the right captain who's taking that game seriously, in my opinion, especially in terms of finals, semi-finals, etc. I think when we come to semi-finals and finals, you have to take bold decisions. You have to be bold enough, strong enough to take different decisions. You go back to, again, if you just want me to take you back, in the 2011 World Cup, everyone expected, Yuvraj to come after Kohli got out, but who came in? It was MS Dhoni, and that worked out for him. Going to 2013, even this Champions Trophy, it was a bold decision to ball Ashwin in the last over, and it worked out well for us. So I think we need a leader who is going to take bold decisions, because since then every time we face in a knockout stage, it has been the same thing. There is, the thing is, like, in during certain phases of a final, semi-final, you'll always go through maybe a rough patch or a patch where you go down, right? So that in those situations, I think India need a clutch player or some guy who's going to make sure that okay, if we are in deep trouble, we have some kind of clutch player who can come and take us out, and we've not had that. Like for example, you talk about Australia, they had Travis Head in the final. I feel like Indian fans also knew that he's going to score regardless of him playing that game or not, like in terms of being in form or not. Go back to the 2019 World Cup. Stokes is the sole reason why they won that World Cup in 2019 in the final. You need some players who can come out during tough situations, and I think India has been lacking that since a long time. And on top of that, you add a leadership or a captain who, with Kohli, unfortunately, and with Rohit Sharma, whenever the situations are tough, they don't do something different. They just go back to the basics, take it as defensively as possible, and that's not worked out at all over the past, 11 years almost now.
Yeah, but I think let's just say right now, of course, I just hope that the characters turn up and they do turn up. Of course, it's not the same as back in the day. You'd probably rely on Yuvraj. You can rely on Dhoni because they were established names. I don't see that at the moment, at least with this current crop. I don't think there's anybody you can really trust. But Rishi, going into that game, do you think again you think Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma, one of them will really step up, like especially in those crunch games, the finals and semi-finals? Because I think we cruise through the Super Eights because we've beaten Afghanistan, Bangladesh. We just need one more win. We beat Bangladesh, we're through. So that looks very likely. But yeah, when it comes to it, the semis and the finals, you think Rohit and Virat can step up?
I mean, we really do need one of them to step up for us to at least cross this mental blockade that we've had for a while, no? And of course, we can, like, it'll be great. Like, if, even yesterday, it wouldn't have been a easy, total that we've set if Surya Kumar hadn't stepped up. So we need, at the end of the day, we need someone to really step up and play that key innings, have that partnership of 60, 70, or not even 60, 70, 70, 80 runs with someone else. So preferably ideally it should be Virat or Rohit leading the line. But again, this World Cup, the thing is, it's all about how you navigate the pitches, no? Like, I've realized it's just that you don't even need a huge total. You don't even need a huge total. You don't need a huge, firefighting job from one man. If you can just survive, you can just score a 40 of 30. We've seen in numerous occasions a good 40 of 30 can be a real game changing innings. So we just need that. And I feel our players, we have it. Like, I feel at least maybe not Dubey because he's not, been with the setup for a while. I feel every other batter who's played for us in this tournament can produce one of those innings. If they just play responsibly, it's not something
That's true.
otherworldly that we're asking from them. And our
That's true.
bowlers have, like, we have enough spinners. Our paces are also doing a good job. Like, the pitches are also favoring the bowler. So I feel that department is kind of taken care of. It's all about keeping your head and just playing the pitch, playing this, navigating through their innings. It is not, we don't need to post a 270, 280. We don't need players to go all guns blazing right from the beginning. So I feel at least in that sense, dude, these are experienced players. They are also supposed to look themselves in the mirror and be like, yeah, like, this is not, also this formula is not some, highly detailed one. Like, it's there for everyone to see, for players to just look and be like, yeah, like, this is the trend that's been happening for a while. Like, we should be able to do this. Like, it's not a great ask. We should just play responsibly. So I feel even if it is not, of course, it's ideal if one of Rohit or Virat or either both can give us those innings. But someone really has to play, a couple of them at least have to play that responsible anchoring of an innings for us to, get over the line.
Yep, for sure. Adi, before we have a final question, do you think India can do it?
See, again, it's again, I don't know. Like, I always feel like that they'll always look good in, till the semi-finals, finals. And I don't know, dude. I always feel like there's always a team that wants it more, want to, perform on the day more, or willing to perform on the day more. And I've said it again, like, see, I still can't see any difference from what's happened before. in terms of what is suddenly that's going to change in the Indian team where you're going to see them as favorites for this World Cup, right? So for me, it's always going to be in terms of, okay, can this player step up? From my side, I would always love them too, but I still don't believe in them in terms of, okay, yeah, I'm sure they're going to step up, in the semis or in the finals when it gets tough. Players like Pant, Sky, Hardik, to be fair, even Rohit Sharma and Virat, they all need to step up. Like, I can't pinpoint one player and say he needs to step up, because again, over the years, I've seen even the greats like Virat and Rohit, not perform in the semis or finals, whatever it is. So I want, if we're going into this tournament, in the next 4 games, try to win all, especially knockout games. I just want everyone to be serious when it comes to the the semis and finals. I don't like seeing players like Dubey in terms of like just coming, looking very mentally confused, distraught. Looking at Dubey, I myself feel like, okay, like a confidence of myself looking at him goes down, because I'm like, does he know what he's doing? And I feel like the entire Indian team need to step up their performance in terms of mentality. And again, it's just more of like, can they show up that day, which I still haven't seen, so I just can't believe it. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay. Rashid, one word answer: yes or no, India.
Yes or no, India? What favorites or can
Will,
do the job?
will they win? Will they win it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Fine, we'll take that and we'll go ahead with it. Guys, please let us know what you think. You think India can get the job done this time around the ICC Men's T20 World Cup? Yep. Until then, please do like and share these videos. Subscribe to the channel SportsKhabri, and yeah, we'll be back. See you.